there are no limits to our further upward development. Each of you can reach the next step and become a Gendai, a Mozart or Raphael, a saint or a Mahatma. These themselves have worked their way up long time ago from lower levels, and since then have proceeded even further to still higher steps. It is absurd to think of the essence of an Achat as being something unearthly. He evolves on earth as a leader of hearts. Beyond them come still higher stages, sons of God like Jesus or Buddha, angels and archangels. By virtue of the indwelling divine fire, every human being is a potential Christ. The spiritual light is reflected within the mentality of man, and also in that of every living creature, in varying degrees. Therefore, every man is a potential Christ. First you were mineral, then plant, then animal, then human. You will become an angel, and that too you will leave behind. There are still 1,000 other forms of existence waiting for you. What you cannot imagine, you will be. All these higher creatures have outgrown the lowlands of normal earthly human life. They have worked their way up out of external conditions that were no better than ours today. Their greater proximity to God is based on nothing else than a purer life, a higher striving, and a more successful development of their divine core. The word Mahatma is translated as great soul. Some imagine the Mahatmas as a completely distinct race. One should not conceive a great soul to be entirely distinct. Each Mahatma began his ascent from the dregs of the people, having only dared to choose the difficult path of the great soul. All the archangels and angels had to go through human evolution, and the archangel Varahel, or Uriel, was and is a man. Likewise the archangel Michael, though ranking amongst the highest archangels, nevertheless walked on our sinful earth, bringing salvation. How could it be otherwise? How else than by work? Work on yourself. Can you reach such high levels? And how could a being like Jesus understand and lead mankind if he had not himself carried out human labor, endured human suffering, and risen above it? How, then, can the heart realize all the beauty of existence if it has not penetrated into all the joys and sorrows of life? People say the Kumaras, archangels, are a super-earthly manifestation, but they forget with what labor the attainment is built. By this path are the qualities of the leaders of humanity accumulated. If they do not pass through earthly sufferings, they cannot respond to people's sufferings. If they do not experience the sweat of toil, they cannot guide people in their labor. Self-abnegation, mercy, compassion, courage are forged in life. Nothing abstract can mold the strength of the spirit. Thus let people understand the Kumaras as the true leaders. It would be unscientific to assume that Jesus or the archangels stand outside the evolutionary process. There is nothing in the universe that is not subject to this law. Helena Blavatsky accepted the divinity of Jesus only so far as he had cultivated the spark of the divine in his nature to a greater degree than had the masses of humanity. The divinity of Jesus does not rest upon a miraculous or supernatural conception, birth, and resurrection. The life and conduct accredited to him are sufficient to show the action of divinity through him. He is the one perfect pattern in ages of human effort, handed down to the races of mankind now upon the earth. The fundamental cause of the difference between Jesus and countless other men of similar potentialities lies in the fact that through many lives the inner ego, the self of that entity, had prepared conditions by self-sacrifice, indefatigable labor, purity of life, intense love, and unremitting service for others, for the acceptance and radiation of that divine light we call the Christos in and through his whole nature. This made of him one set apart, a light to lighten the world, a pattern for all men to copy if they would reach the altitude where he dwells, and at the same time, and by the same means, furnish the vehicle through which the phenomena noted in the various accounts of the descent of the Holy Spirit could be manifested to a wandering people. This is rather high-flying. How will the development continue with me? The next steps within our reasonable reach are: become first a disciple and eventually a co-worker of the Mahatmas of the Brotherhood of Shambhala. Prepare to take office there one day, so that the current office bearers may continue their ascent on higher planets. Sometimes we say, strive to us with all your might. The wise man proceeds to me by the higher path. Much higher, but latent as a potential within us, are the stages of a ruler over solar systems, cosmoses, and universes. Only joy, indeed enthusiasm, can prevail at the immeasurable possibilities for unlimited growth that are being offered to us. When we have come this far, we cannot stop before the top of the pyramid. It is one of mankind's most terrible errors to imagine God as an unattainable creature outside of nature and evolution. It is the separation of God from manifested nature that causes all the mistakes and terrible contradictions. When people heard about the unattainability of the highest, they began to reject in general everything invisible. He, too, eons ago, has gone through the natural evolution from the earliest beginnings and has risen by nothing but labor to the highest heights. One of the most important teachings of Agni Yoga is there is no God who was not man at one time. All gods must undergo human evolution. We are called forth to follow the same path. In order to bring all substance of creation up to the point of consciousness which the creators themselves enjoyed, it was necessary that this substance should pass in turn through what the creators had before passed through, in other worlds, in other lives. It is of the utmost importance that you recognize the evolutionary line leading from the blade of grass via man up to creatures standing far higher than we. Only thus can you form a scientific picture of the higher spheres that does not contradict reason. Only thus can you gather courage for your own ascent. Only thus can we overcome the unfruitful abstractness of today's understanding of God. When one has traced the thread from Christ to the blade of grass, then only has the scope of work been covered. God, nature, law, call it what you will, is the same beneficent, all-powerful energy that evolves a God from a stone. We are talking about the details of a scientific understanding of God in our broadcasting Who or What is God. At the beginning of this broadcasting, we had asked for the goal of the development around you, by which you may orient yourself. Here it is. Man is on the path to God. That is the goal of evolution. This idea of our eternal evolutionary path to the highest heights is neither new nor unworldly mysticism. Jesus himself gave this advice to us 2000 years ago when he taught in the Sermon on the Mount. Be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. Only realize that you carry with your higher spiritual nature God's image within you. One cannot express it more powerfully than to say that man is created in the image of the highest. Reminding about the image of God must lead man into new paths. All religions have noted the affirmation about the destination of man as an image of the highest force. Wherein does an image of the highest force reveal itself? Only in perfectionment of the spirit may man become the image of the highest force. Then it will be your natural desire to strive to become as similar as possible to this inner model. Ye shall be holy, for I, the Lord your God, am holy. Let your desire be to be made holy, without which no man may see the Lord. Our mission is to get as close to God as possible. The divine, scientifically speaking, the gigantic potential lying within you, imperatively demands to reveal itself. Hence, your longing for the highest levels. What he, the real man, the real woman, desires above all else is God, and nothing less will satisfy. The soul of man is continuously urging him on to reach from one height to another. It knows it can never be satisfied until it becomes conscious of its unity with the Godhead. The higher you climb, the closer you will come to God. As you go upward, you are more and more united with all who are going before you, who lend you strength and help. When we rise to the highest, we will also dwell with the highest. This is not a chimera, not an unattainable goal. With your higher self, you carry the germs of the attributes of a God already within you. Now it is your task to develop these hidden talents in the forthcoming millions of years, step by step, to their highest perfection. Since we are particles of the Absolute, and since each particle of the one whole potentially possesses all the qualities of this whole, we can gradually unfold this potential within ourselves during the span of countless incarnations and the millennia that reach into infinity. Every organic center is a God in embryo. The heart will lead us by the path of Christ up to the step of transfiguration. To become like a God, will not that be a worthy, Will not that be the highest goal? When will people comprehend the wondrousness of becoming like the highest beings? As yet, they are abashed at this thought. Rightly directed study will point out the path to the gods. He who goes to his fathers will dwell with them. He who goes to the angels will dwell with them. And he who goes to God will dwell with him. That means that he who has ordained for himself the utmost progress arrives at the best attainment. To conclude this broadcasting, let us listen to a proud statement. The wayfarer affirms that he goes to the Lord himself. It is true, people are amazed at such a resolution, but they respect such steadfastness. One must set before oneself the loftiest goal. Only then does the road not appear forbidding. One must adjoin the highest quality throughout all existence. One must accept the highest measures as alone worthy of the highest forces.